I have to ask you because there are memes that are going around.
I know what you're going to ask me. I know exactly what you're going to ask me.
Have you noticed those memes that are comparing, the way you look with Leader of the Opposition, Pritam Singh?
I can't change the way I look. I just can't.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Help Desk. As always, I'm your host, Drew. And we've just finished recording an episode with Daniel Liu and Faisal Abdul Aziz. They are two of the PAP candidates rather, for Aljunied GRC. We had a fun conversation about their time overseas as students, about what it's like to run in Aljunied GRC, to be a suicide squad, I guess some people have been calling them. And we also asked them a question from you guys about imposter syndrome. So stick through the episode for that. Hope you guys enjoy it. I will dial it up right now. Daniel and Faisal, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Drew. Good to be here.
I was actually at the nomination center yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, I saw you guys at Poi Ching School.
Right.
I was on the ground.
There.
What did you think?
Wow, I mean, like the PAP support, I was quite impressed by the amount of people who were there.
Okay.
Yeah. How did you guys feel up there? Were you nervous having to deliver that kind of speech?
Well, of course, it's our first time. So
Yeah.
definitely we were very nervous, very nerve-wracking. But we rehearsed. I mean, the truth is we rehearsed.
Yeah, I'm
right?
sure,
We rehearsed
I'm
our
sure.
speeches.
Yeah.
We did it multiple times. I think we had to synchronize internally with each other as well, which is what we do a lot.
Yeah.
So that we can present ourselves confident and as a one united team, which we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how much
I hope it shone through.
synchronization do you have to do? Like, make sure that you're all saying similar things, or that you're not saying opposite things. Or...
No, I think this time we took the approach. I mean, for 4 of the 5 of us, this is our first time contesting.
Yeah.
And so our team lead, she has, a lot of experience in this. So,
Yeah.
and she's gone through, I think, battles where she felt good about it and battles where she didn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
So I think she's put a lot of energy into putting together program for this hustings that
Okay.
she thinks will feel good for us, and so far it has. So for all of our press conference, now the interview, what was it yesterday? The nomination speech.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's been a long day. Yesterday felt like last week. I know.
worries.
Yeah, the nomination speech, and we have the rally coming up. I think we're working quite closely together, really, really well. So yesterday, we more or less, all 5 of us said the same thing, just in different languages, to kind of represent the diversity of the team and the diversity of the constituents. And we came up with that probably 10 days ago, and we've been working on it. So hopefully people feel that, okay, as a team, we're quite together. And
Yeah.
because I've only known these guys for like 2-3 months, but it's been,
great.
I see them more than my spouse. Right? So.
That's true. But when I say synchronization, I don't just mean our speeches. It's also it's deeper like that than that. It's really understanding what motivates us, what our purpose are,
Okay.
and understanding our personalities
Yeah.
and how we align ourselves together for one purpose. And that's actually very important. So we ground ourselves together, and we do a lot of these things actually. So we obviously we take a lot of time to get to know each other.
Yeah.
We talk to each other a lot. And it's important
Went
because
for mindfulness sessions together.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
really?
mindfulness,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay,
we
I'm a
did.
big fan of mindfulness, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Ah.
I try and do it every day.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
was that
Okay.
whose idea was the mindfulness session?
Who are you?
What you said,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow, so she's really into this kind of thing.
Well, I think it's not that she's into it, but I think anything that can bring us together and help us focus. And, we're all very open about different things. And
Yeah.
I think it was really helpful because it was like the first time we did a bit of deep sharing about things we probably won't repeat here.
Okay.
But, we got to know each other better
Yeah.
and it was great.
Yeah. And for me, it was a very new experience for me. I've never done such things before.
Yeah.
But we are open to new ideas, right? To trying out new things, exploring different options to try and get people together and so on and so forth. And
Yeah.
we did it, and I felt it really helped. Yeah. So so we are really, I think, I'm very grateful I'm very blessed to be part of this team.
Yeah.
I really feel very close to them. I hope they feel that way about me too. Okay, Daniel's got
Can
down.
neither confirm nor deny that's
No lie.
lie.
Very good, very good.
But,
Wait, I must
so
say
it's
something
great.
though about Hui Yi. They could not have picked 4 men to be taller than her
Yeah.
than the 4 of you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what, like, why? I mean, I guess she's not. I am a vertically challenged human being as well. I would find that intimidating to be surrounded by like 4 giants.
Right. Oh, she's small but quite mighty.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to me, I've been thinking about her position and what she's done over the last 10 years. I think, to be honest, to me, she's a very underrated politician. She is probably the last person that texts us at night.
Yes.
She's a mother of two. She wakes up very early. She spends all weekend in the constituency with her volunteers.
Okay.
She has so much energy. It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm surprised. So I mean, I personally, I call her Tachie, right? Like big sister.
Yeah.
Right. But she really takes care of us,
Yeah.
I always say that really honestly, she really takes care of us, make sure we're okay. Because four of us, we are new.
Yeah.
And of course, being in opposition is not easy. We go through a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
And I think she's the one who helps grounds us. Really, we look to her for advice. And we just have to be steady bom pipi, and we know that she will guide us along the way, and that's why we respect her as our team lead, as our leader.
Yeah.
And I think it's great, we've got a good team, so I'm very happy with that.
Yeah. So you watched each other rehearse your speeches before going out there,
Yeah.
right? Did anyone deviate from the script? Because you guys weren't reading from scripts, right? So it's all memorized.
Yeah.
No, I think no one deviated. Did you deviate?
No, I didn't.
can't tell.
Yeah, Malay, no, I didn't. No, you see, the reason why we didn't deviate was because we spoke from our hearts.
Okay.
Right? So we knew exactly what was the messaging we wanted to put across.
Yeah.
We refined our messages because we only had 3 minutes, right? So
Yeah.
obviously, politicians would like to talk. So you give us a mic, we can talk for 3 hours non-stop.
Yeah.
We'll be happy, but we only got 3 minutes.
And no one will listen now.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
it's
3
a-
minutes that's shared amongst the whole
Yes,
team,
correct.
Yeah.
right? For
So-
those who are unaware.
Yeah, so we just had to tighten up our messages to make it succinct so
Yeah.
that we can squeeze in 3 minutes. And it was still something we could resonate deeply with. So effort-wise, it wasn't too much effort to memorize the script,
Okay.
right? But we just had to tighten our messages, lah. So and I'm glad it came out across that way.
Yeah.
I think it did. No, I watched it a few times.
A few times.
Yes, a few times
Hey,
with
don't
my
tell people
activists.
these things, lah.
No, we watched the video a few times, right? No, so
Yeah, yeah,
analyze, see. No, the reason we watch is because we want to see how we can do better.
Yes,
yes.
I think that's critical,
Be
right?
safe, yeah.
If you don't watch yourself on camera, you don't see yourself.
That's true.
You don't criticize yourself, right? Then you're just gonna continue making the same mistakes,
Yeah.
and so on and so
And
forth.
you guys will be having to do rally speeches, I guess,
Yes,
in the
yes.
next few days. So
Yes.
Yes.
you definitely want to get that feedback, learn what you can do better.
Yes.
Are my hand gestures too wild? Or
Yes, that's
do
my
eyes look
problem actually for
insane?
me.
Or the hand
yes,
gestures?
I find that's why I'm always clasping my hands. Yeah, you see some of my videos, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say it, right? It's my hands tend to go all over the place.
Yeah.
I think I've got very large fingers as
Yeah.
well, very long fingers. I don't know. Maybe it's just my job.
I mean, one of the things I think we also has been helpful for us is we have also brought in outside help, right? So we have volunteers and people who have worked in communications before and people who have worked in advertising to also help us in the training. I think in Singapore, our interest, or at least for me, my interest in politics is from a policy lens, right? And one of the biggest shocks transitioning into this has been actually you also have to be a bit of a social media star or a social media influencer. And so that's something I'm not used to. But I think in Singapore, as in many parts of the world, being a politician means you have to be very clued in policy-wise, but you also have to be able to put your message across effectively. And so I think we were able to bring in the right people to help us frame our narratives in a way that was useful, and I think that has shown now.
Yeah. I mean, it's more so for you guys, I would say, and I'm sure you will not want to comment on this as much, but as in, okay, if you were, let's say, went to a GRC that was a relatively safe seat,
Right.
I don't think PM Wong's, the other people in his GRC team,
Yeah.
feel the pressure to I don't know, you know what I mean?
I think I do want to comment on that. I honestly think that, because it's important, you see, as a party as well. There's no such thing as a safe seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, there really isn't. And I think every vote needs to be fought for. Okay, of course, now we know Marine Parade Bradel Heights,
Yes.
right? You're right, was a walkover. But the team definitely was not prepared for a walkover. They were prepared to fight for the votes or at least earn the trust of Singapore and Singaporeans. It's not their fault that nobody contested in that area.
Yeah.
Right? But there's no such thing as a safe seat. And I think every vote, even though people may have this notion that, this opposition party maybe cannot garner as much votes. You cannot take that for granted, You never know. Elections are unpredictable. And this is what PM Wong also has reiterated, that there's no such thing as safe seat. So all of us have to work hard for Singapore and Singaporeans.
Yeah.
And the reason why the PAP has done well in so far is because we have worked very, very hard for Singapore and Singaporeans. So it's not that, I know it sounds very party land, but it's true, So I mean, that's the reason why I joined the party, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't take Singaporeans' votes and trust for granted. And no political party should be given a free pass, and everyone should be contested. So even our incumbents, right? So the Workers' Party, now whom we are contesting against, they should not get a free pass either. So everyone has to work hard. And I think Singaporeans will benefit from such contestation, and they should. And that's the whole point of democracy, isn't it?
Yeah, well put, well put. I want to ask you guys a bit about how you got into politics in the first place.
Sure.
I understand that, Daniel, you've been volunteering with Nisun since 2014.
Yeah.
How did that begin?
So growing up, I've always been interested in government and
Okay.
maybe not so much politics, but government and public policy.
Yeah.
And I have a master's in public policy as well, or public administration. So I've always been quite close to how things work in the government. But I've never really had that much ground experience before 2014. And it wasn't like a planned thing, but basically I was at a lunch and a friend of a friend kind of said, oh, they do this thing, Meet the People session, which I've heard of before, but I didn't really know what they did. So I was asking, and they said, why don't you come down and check it out? I'm like, where is it? Oh, in Yishun. It's like, okay, it's a bit far, but never mind.
Yishun.
No, I don't live in Yishun. So it's like, okay, I'll check it out. So I went down to Chong Pang, which is where Minister Shanmugam was, and was introduced, met him. He said, "I'll just check it out, see if you like it or not." Yeah, and one thing led to another, and more than 10 years later, I was still there. Much more involved in the grassroots side of things.
Okay.
I was the CCC chairman there, and had been doing a lot within the division. So I was helping Louis Ng. Well, now he's not running now.
Yeah,
but,
I don't suppose you were there when he had to make that.
Unfortunately, I was not there.
Yeah, quite emotional.
Yeah, I was emotional too. I mean, I knew of his decision a bit earlier.
Yeah,
and I could understand his reasons for it.
Yeah,
and I also know that both the Prime Minister and Minister Shanmugam tried very, very, very hard to convince him.
Yeah.
And I think he was, I think my own view is he was quite torn because he had made a firm decision to go back to the nonprofit sector. I think it is true that, it does take away a lot of time from your kids, and he does have 3 young children. So I know he was very, very conflicted.
Yeah.
And so we had talked about it a little bit. I mean, I think he's a great member of parliament, not just at the policy level in parliament, but what he does at the ground. I mean, I've learned so much from him. And obviously, I came in from a much more academic background, and he comes in from a very activist background.
Yeah, acres.
Yeah, and so I wouldn't call him anti-establishment, but I would say that he is very willing to
challenge the norm.
Yeah, to challenge the norm, to speak up. When he has good ideas, his tenacity is very very intense. Yeah. But he also carries it off quite well, right? I mean, before this becomes a Louis Ng love letter, I will say that, his personal skills are very high EQ. He knows what buttons to push. And it's kind of like an innate thing with him. And who he is, I think to residents, to volunteers, it's the same guy lah.
Yeah.
So he's not putting up a front. And I think in that regard, it makes him a very unique, very special politician. And I'm super thankful that by a stroke of luck, I was sent to volunteer for him and managed to, basically his entire political career, I kind of watched from a front row seat.
Daniel, I wanted to come back to you about, the thing about your parents not being keen on you to pursue music. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I mean, your dad famously was Singapore's master planner.
Sure.
But his dad was an artist.
Right.
Right. I'm somewhat surprised, and your dad yourself is an artist. Your dad himself is an artist in his own right.
Yeah.
Right. He draws very well, and he does that quite regularly, I believe. I'm somewhat surprised that he did not encourage you to pursue arts, given that his father was an artist.
It's quite interesting. My father's parents my dad wanted to be an artist himself. And he applied to art school in China when he was a student in Singapore.
Yeah.
Which is a long time ago. And when my grandmother found out that he had applied for art school in China, she immediately found somewhere else for him to go, because they knew like how challenging it was, how much of a struggle it was to just be artists in pre and post-war Singapore. And so I think he probably had similar thoughts for me. I was very passionate about music, but the other thing is I was not. Actually, I have an older sister who's a cellist, a classical cellist.
Okay.
And they were very supportive of that because I think they understand what it means to be a classical musician.
Okay.
It's very highly trained.
Yeah.
She plays in an opera house, and she's very, very good.
Yeah.
Whereas a DJ is pressing buttons at a club on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Music's too loud.
Yeah. And so I think the cognitive dissonance between a cellist and someone mashing buttons on the weekend was a little bit too high. Of course, for me, I understand it in a very, very different way.
Yeah.
So I think my dad was more okay, to be honest. He didn't get it. My mom was like, look, you already are working at a okay place and you already have some direction of a career. Why would you, change? And she had a point, and I understand her perspective.
Yeah.
So I think it has kind of informed my own feelings about what it means to be able to pursue your own dreams in Singapore. And I definitely resonate with a lot of Singaporeans who feel I've had to sacrifice this dream so that I can pursue, financial safety for my family. Or I've had
Something more traditional.
Yeah, or I've seen some of my friends successfully pursue whatever that they've been passionate about. They've just been lucky to be passionate about the right thing, whereas they themselves have not felt supported in chasing those dreams. Yeah. I think there are ways for policymakers to kind of address this over time. I think a good example of what has moved the needle already, we have School of the Arts for people who are interested in arts at a younger age. But also now that the Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts and LaSalle, they're merging.
Yeah.
And also their kind of status being upgraded to having full degrees and semi-autonomous status. That is something that can move the needle in the art space here, because it sends a signal to both parents and also the market that you can have a good job with a degree in arts or arts management or managing a gallery, etc. After school. So that's great. I know that the 4G leadership, everyone knows we have a Forward Singapore agenda, and it is up to the PAP government to prove it over the next term that this is something that we really mean. As someone who is interested in public policy and politics, it's, I think, useful for me to have this perspective of seeing how this feeling that I haven't been able to pursue what I wanted to pursue, and seeing my friends around me do it better or not so good in different ways. And then hold a government accountable in the policy discussions over the next term in Parliament. And for me, I think that's why this is the right time to join politics, because personally, a lot of things feel like they've come together. There's a new leadership team with a new agenda. I have a more mature experience now with a perspective of both giving up my dream and also finding a passion later in life.
Yeah.
And I think there are many, many Singaporeans who probably are still very frustrated or have anxiety about all these things. And not that I can relate to everyone's dreams or challenges, but at least I think I can help be an advocate for this voice.
Yeah. So can we expect you to be DJing if you do an Aljunied block party or anything like that?
For our post party, why not?
I'll be honest. I haven't turned on my decks for a long time, so I don't know if they still work.
That's like muscle memory, right? It'll come back to you once
I
you
hope
start
so.
doing
I
it.
hope so. Okay, I'll take special requests. If you ask me, to,
For Mothership.
for Mothership.
Okay, yeah.
Mothership's,
If we do
AGM
a
or
party, then
annual
we'll get you to
party.
come and
Sure,
DJ
sure,
for
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Can we speak a bit about Aljunied?
Yeah, please.
Sure.
When did you guys get Faisal, you've been volunteering in Aljunied for a while.
Yes.
But Daniel, you were from Nisun.
Yeah.
So when did you guys, get confirmation, I suppose, that you would be competing in
Yesterday.
Aljunied?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Nomination
so
day.
when did you get confirmation that the PAP was intending to send you guys to compete at Aljunied?
You actually went,
Okay, for me, it was about 1 or 2 weeks before the press release, which was somewhere
Okay.
in mid-Feb, I think, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. So
Yeah.
about end of Jan, that was when I was told I'm going to. Okay, so for us, they appointed us as chairman of the branch
yeah.
first, right? And honestly, when just because you're appointed chairman does not mean that you'll be fielded as a candidate.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
we've seen like a couple of chairmen
Yes.
now moved around.
Correct.
and
Yeah,
not
or you may
competing.
retire, step down,
Yes,
and so on and so forth. Of course,
exactly.
that is at a higher operational level. We have no idea, right? But generally, for me, I knew I mean, the press release was somewhere in mid-Feb, if I remember correctly. Who felt like a long time ago. It was a few months ago. There we go. Felt like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But I knew about it about 1 or 2 weeks before. We had to know about it so we can do the transition planning and so on and
Yeah,
so
of
forth.
course.
Yeah, but for me, it was a very natural transition for me because I was there for 10 years. I knew everyone there. I didn't have to introduce myself,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Faisal, so and so. Everyone knew who I am. They were all my peers. And we just carried on the good work. That was quite easy for me, and I feel very grateful for that. Right. So residents know me, very familiar. They know what work we've done on the ground.
Yeah.
And I just hope now that I'm a candidate, I hope that they will support me in these upcoming elections and my team as well, so that we can continue to do more for them and do more good for them. And I hope my groundwork has at very least spoken for my team and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel, I mean, you were
Daniel?
from Nisun, a bit of a different story for you.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about how much I can say. Look, I will say that coming to Aljunied, it was both quite natural, but also a bit of a surprise.
Yes.
When by the time that happened, we had gone through a very lengthy process, and you just don't know what or when someone's going to call you. I was very lucky that in Paya Lebar, I've been good friends with the former branch chair Alexio for about 10 years. In fact, we were classmates. So
Oh, okay.
when
He's competing in Potong
he's
Pasir.
going to Potong
Yeah.
Pasir, yeah. In fact, when I met him, we were classmates together at NUS
Okay.
when we were doing our master's degree. So over the years, he's been another kind of support or mentor for me. As he became branch chair, I took on other roles. We'd meet pretty regularly, every 6 weeks or so, and for a lunch. And I would kind of share my life. He would kind of download to me what's happening in Paya Lebar a little bit. So I didn't go in totally blind. But I think what's interesting about this GE for us is because of the background of the five of us and how we relate to our residents.
Yeah.
We don't see this as a contestation between PAP versus WP.
Okay.
Probably it's day 2 of the GE, so we still need to do better to let our residents know how we feel. But for us, it's a contestation for the five of us to win over our residents, right? Because between the five of us, we have over 75 years of community experience. I have 10, you have 11. Jega, our colleague, he's been doing this for 15 years. Hui's been doing it for 25. Adrian as well. And so I think we just know and we feel that we can do a lot. We know how the pieces move. We have, direct lines to senior leadership within government. We already can see what the challenges are on the ground, both through the feedback and also from our professional experience. I mean, I work in urban development or the urban space, so
Yeah.
we can see what has worked well in Aljunied over the last 14 years, what can be improved, and what should have been improved by now.
Yeah.
And we just feel very, very strongly that actually we can do a lot for our residents that hasn't been done on the ground. I think we know that Aljunied, it's an interesting battle point or battleground because of who on the opposition is being fielded there.
Yeah.
But
the highest profile opposition
highest
politician,
profile
the leader
opposition
of the
there.
opposition.
Absolutely, and I think we welcome that challenge. But on the other hand, we are focused on our narrative,
Yeah.
which is we are diverse, we are young, we are fresh, but also we see and feel very strongly about how the lives of our residents can be improved, lah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking a little bit about our mindfulness session, and
Yeah.
what came out of that, the emotions that some of my teammates felt like, oh my God, this is actually how we can improve people's lives if we had the chance. I mean, it's really quite pure in the sense that we're not doing politics. It's weird for me to do politics. It's more natural for me to do policy and to do groundwork.
Yeah.
So I think we definitely we went into Aljunied knowing that it's going to be a very tough fight.
Yeah.
But we chose to do it anyway because I think Singaporeans deserve better. That's basically it, right? I think that there's a lot of things which we feel we can implement on the ground, which will be beneficial to the residents of Aljunied. In particular, I would say that our team, very diverse. And I want to say this, that if we do win it in Aljunied, I mean, just imagine, right, if we do win it, we will do everything we can to make sure that we continue to win for many, many more elections to come.
That's true.
Right? And we will not take any vote for granted. We will continue to work very hard, and we will make sure that when you vote for the PAP, when you vote for us, and if we win it, we will really value your vote.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the key messages which I think I hope residents will resonate and consider. Look, it's been 14 years. I think residents also have to ask, apart from national issues, which are important as well, locally, have they seen improvements in their living environment? Right? So there are many, if they feel that they haven't, then I suppose it's time for a change, right? And the change starts now. And this is their chance. I think the PAP has fielded a very good team. And not me alone, but of course my other 4 teammates as well. Very dedicated. I've worked with them, the past few months.
Yeah.
And really, I think we can serve our residents very well.
So have you guys ever met your opponents that you'll be facing in Aljunied GRC? I mean, apart from yesterday where you're in the same room, right?
Yeah. We see them around quite a bit. We see them at community events, at temple dinners and stuff like that. They're all very nice. Sylvia Lim has been quite warm over the couple of times I've met her. But for us, this is not a popularity contest, right?
Yeah.
This is really an election about us. I mean, for us, it's an election about the 5 of us trying to win over the hearts and minds of the residents of Aljunied. And that has not just started, right? We've started 14 years ago to try and win back slowly the trust and the hearts. And I feel that things have kind of become a bit softer now, but we're not taking any vote for granted. We are making sure we're reaching out to as many people as we can. Both, to be honest, the work of my predecessors has also been incredible.
Yeah.
Alex and Kenny have done great work in Paya Lebar, and I'm sure Samshul as well in Kaki Bukit. So I think we have been still in Aljunied this entire time, right? Not giving it up. But as not the incumbent, that there is only so much we can do, lah.
Yeah.
I think there's no need to feel awkward or anything. At the end of the day, it is a competition.
Yeah.
What we are doing is we are really presenting ourselves to Singaporeans and to Aljunied residents. We'll share with them what we can do, both through our track records and what we hope to do in the future. And we just hope that Aljunied residents resonate with that and they share the same vision with us. And hopefully they put a cross in the PAP box so that we can continue to work together to continue to build Aljunied. And that's really what we are here for, actually.
Yeah. I have to ask you because there are memes that are going around.
I know what you're going to ask me. I know exactly what you're going to ask me.
I'm going to
sure.
ask you?
Yes.
Have you noticed those memes that are comparing the way you look with Leader of the Opposition, Pritam Singh?
Okay. I can't change the way I look. I just can't.
I mean, he's not a bad-looking man.
I mean, I'm not saying he's bad. Yeah. I'm glad, people find him as handsome as me.
Yeah.
Well, apart from that, I think we are very different people.
Yes,
Of course, different parties, different ideas, different values, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But Singaporeans are discerning voters. And, because I've been on the ground so much, I
Yeah.
think they know instantly they can tell instantly who I
Okay.
am and so on and so forth, right? So I don't think it's of any concern.
Yeah. So
And,
it's not a deliberate tactic by the Aljunied team from
No,
the,
no,
the
I
confused
hope not.
voters.
If you can't convince them, you confuse them. No,
You know what you could consider doing? You wear a light blue shirt,
Oh my God.
Oh no.
wear a hat, and then go around vandalizing things around the constituency.
No, I mean,
we don't resort to such
Oh, okay.
tactics.
No.
Yeah.
Just
we are
putting it out
clean,
there. You can have that
clear,
one for
pure,
free.
and we present ourselves
yeah.
openly to Singaporeans.
Open book policy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, when you guys were confirmed to run, or in the process of confirming to run in Aljunied GRC, did you get any advice from senior people in the party?
Of course, we get advice from the party as well, and we value everyone's opinion.
Yeah.
Because all these opinions come from a place somewhere, especially those who have run in Aljunied before. But we always take advice into consideration at the back of our heads, because as candidates as well, we are here to lead the teams. When you're a leader, you need to put your foot down and know how you want to bring the community forward.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So you need to have your own values, you need to have your own convictions. Share this with the people. Consider the advice from the seniors as well, because they are important, you see. And your job as a leader is to put all of these things together and decide what's the best strategy or what's the best way to bring forward.
Yeah.
So we appreciate all the advice, but we don't have to take 100% of it. And I don't think we should, because at the end of the day, as leaders, we are the ones who know what's best on the ground. And as leaders, we have to make the judgment call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely, we do get a lot of this. I've been quite lucky to have people who have gone through it before, who just say, look, if you need any advice, call me. Right. And so I've taken them up on this offer. I spoke about Louis Ng before.
Yeah. I'm sure he would have had interesting things to say.
He's given me some help. You're right.
Yeah.
Alex, he knows Paya Lebar like the back of his hand. That's the division we're in. I think we are in this position because the party has trust in us.
Okay.
But it also means that we need to have trust in ourselves.
Yes.
Right? And being a bit discerning.
Any advice that you found like, okay, this is like really good stuff that you still think about today? I mean, it could be minor things about how to give like a stirring speech or how to pump up the crowd. I don't know.
Actually, the best advice I have gotten is on the best ways to do our groundwork, our ground outreach. And actually, it's not just advice; it's also lived experiences of how I've seen Louis do it, or how I have known how Alex has done it. And for me, it's always, and my experience is that quality over quantity is always the best way to go. In Paya Lebar, which is my division in Aljunied, we have over 160 HDB blocks, and we have a lot of landed private houses as well. And there's no way in even a 5-year term you're going to cover everything and meet everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so when we do my walkabouts and house visits, I've tried both right? Like a touch and go approach. And I find that doesn't work. You don't get much out of it. People just see you as another face. But when I spend the time asking residents a little bit more about their lives, when it comes out, they have this challenge or that challenge, prying a little bit more. Well, maybe I shouldn't use the word pry, but asking a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, yeah, actually, that's a good point. Maybe you can help me on this, or, thanks for asking, but no, I still got it. But if you need anything, just let me know.
Yeah.
It does make a difference, and I just wish I had more time to have more deeper engagement. And hopefully, I will.
Yeah, I think for me, the best advice I gotten was really about how to manage my emotions in a sense. And I say this not because I'm a very emotional person. No,
Yeah.
I'm not. Because, a bit maybe. But when I say emotions, I mean because we care very deeply, right? For Singapore, we care deeply for the community. Sometimes we can really see that, this is really not right. What can we do to try and correct it? And we try to talk to people, to try and change their ideas. But not everyone's going to believe in what you have to say. But not everyone's going to be on board with you. And sometimes it can get quite frustrating because you do spend a lot of time to try and talk, to convince, and so on and so forth. And if you don't keep your emotions in check, that that this is a democracy, different people have different views. You don't keep your emotions in check. I think it's very easy to give up. So we just have to manage our expectations a bit as well. We can only try our best, sincerely, with our full heart, and we try our best. They may not be on board with you now, but if you continue to engage and they see your sincerity, hopefully they will then, at the very least, they will trust you and they say, "No, I know you come from a good place. I know you really want to do this, but I have my own views." So we can agree to disagree. So these are the things. I think in politics, everyone goes through this, no matter which party you are from. But for someone new, I think it's an important reminder, important advice, just to, don't take everything too hard. Just move on, especially if things go wrong, right? This is something which I think I advise also, which I use on a daily basis. Sometimes, your campaign, something may go wrong and things like that. Something may happen, something may blow up. Just move on, right? Just move on. Try and rectify it as best as you can. You move on and you face your next challenge and you carry on. Because if you harp on what has happened in the past, that's not going to do you any favors. In fact, you will just start going down into a rabbit hole and things like that. So that is very important.
The thing I've appreciated the most since taking on this branch chair role is when I've been able to talk to residents who say, "Look, I'm not so sure about you. I'm not so sure about the PAP, but I'm willing to talk lah." And actually, I do like to spend a bit of time to find out, hey, actually, why what are you thinking? Sometimes it's a younger person, younger family. Sometimes it's a senior who's kind of at the end of the career. So they have very different perspectives on why they think, okay, the PAP has not worked well for them. And I do appreciate the opportunity to listen a bit, because I think there's more that can be learned by us and fed up to the party leadership on actually, our message is not resonating with these people and why. And sometimes, they feel this message from not a source, but some general anxiety, or they are like, actually, life has been really tough my whole life. And PAP keeps talking about success. I just don't feel it. So I really appreciate the chance to kind of understand why someone may be a naysayer or kind of on the fence. I can share my perspective with them, but it's great when they can do more of the talking.
That's something I find really interesting about Aljunied GRC in particular, right? It's because on one hand, there are the estate issues, the local issues, I guess we could call it, to Aljunied. You want to make the place nicer, you want to bring in amenities. But then on the other hand, symbolically, the GRC also has a national symbolism, because it is the current seat of the leader of the opposition. And they will campaign on national issues as well. What do you guys think is the strategy to winning Aljunied? Is it about those kind of local issues? Let me make the place better. Let me upgrade the amenities, or is it about these national issues of what opposition should be doing in Singapore?
So
go ahead.
So I think these two issues are very important. They're critical, right? And I think those who are maybe on the fence or not so sure about it and all that, I think this is very conflicting for them. I appreciate that. I recognize that. So which is why it's a very difficult choice for residents to make. But I will say this, in our system, there will always be an opposition. There will never not be an opposition. NCMP scheme, and so on and so forth.
Well, even within the party, we have a lot of voices.
So within the party as well, actually we are all individuals who can speak up for residents. We have a diverse team, as I mentioned earlier on as well. We have a diverse team with different backgrounds, and we are not muted just because we are from the PAP. That's what I want to tell people. We are not. We can speak up, especially with the new leadership. PM Lawrence Wong, very open to ideas. I mean, we've met him many times, spoken to him. He is very open, very inclusive, and naturally the leadership of the PAP is consultative by nature. So we speak to different people with different backgrounds, different views, and so on and so forth. So I don't worry about the diverse views, of that. Local estate issues also very important, very critical. If a specific political party spends so much time just talking about national issues, but you don't take care of the estates, I think that will affect the residents as well. So it's a fine balance between the two, and I hope Singaporeans can decide who can best, balance these two well, so that on top of having their views represented well in Parliament, they will also have a nice, beautiful home and nice, beautiful estate and neighbourhood to go home to at the end of the day.
I agree with that. I do believe that Singapore is unique, right? Where we only have one layer of government. So it is right that we take care of our estate. We need to rejuvenate our estate centers. I notice, we can do more for barrier-free accessibility.
Yeah.
But our team's message is one of aspiration and one of hope. And that's a national level message, right? We are running as politicians because we believe that Singapore can continue to do better, and we can, even as PAP members, we can continue to hold the government accountable to do better. As Singapore moves forward into the next chapter, people's aspirations are going to become much more diverse. And I think the only way we can move forward as a country is that whoever is in power, it is a place where all of these aspirations, no matter how diverse they are, can be supported, and people feel that they can achieve their dreams with a base in Singapore. And so that is our message nationally.
I mean, Daniel, I don't think that this question has come up for you already. And I do think that it will come up during the husting. So I would kick myself if I didn't ask.
I can see where you're going from here.
Your father, I guess famously or infamously, is associated with 10 million population.
Yeah.
And this is quite an unpopular view amongst many Singaporeans. What do you make of this?
That's a fair question to ask. Look, I am very proud of my dad. I love my dad a lot. He led a very important team that did a lot of great work for Singapore in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, early 90s. But the effort the result of that effort is not just because of one man, He really talented master planner. But I think the reason why Singapore works today is also because of all the policy work that went into it. It's not just about the planning, it's the housing policy, it's the financial policy. I'm not a master planner by training. And so what Singapore needs to plan for in terms of its parameters to over the next 100, 200, 300 years, I am not an expert to be able to give you this answer. What I do know is that Singapore will face a lot of urban challenges, right? Rising sea levels. There will be a lot of changes to our urban environment for the good as well. In Aljunied, Paya Lebar Air Base, they're moving 2030, so there's going to be a lot of place to be developed. Marina South, where the port is moving to Tuas, so there's going to be more space. Along the East Coast, they're going to build a Long Island, right, by 2070. So again, that's going to add more changes to our, land use here. What I would say is that in terms of livability, Singapore must always be a place where we are always more livable the year after the last year. And having sound urban planning is a key part of that. And projecting for a very, very, very distant future, where who knows what the population here will be. I doubt it would ever be anything close to 10 million, frankly. But if we do plan for 10 million people and we only have 6.5, 7 million people by the year 22,000 or 2,200, then livability here will be actually very, very high. Because it would mean we have a lot of... We've been able to plan it in a way that there's still a lot of space. Individuals will have more green spaces to go to than if we hadn't planned properly. Look, in my line of work, I'm not a planner, but I work in public policy for governments around the world. I started this consulting firm called Moral Intelligence, and just in our backyard, ASEAN. The urbanization rate in ASEAN is expected to double by the year 2050.
Yeah.
And if you go to some of the capital cities, Jakarta, Manila, maybe not so much, but also Bangkok, in some way, actually these cities are already facing a lot of strain. And can you imagine if their urbanization rate doubles in the next 25, 30, 40 years? Singapore is already much, much better than these places. And we've done a very good job at... I think what we've been able to do well is to show them how they can be like a Singapore. But I think what we need to do better is to show them how they can be the best versions of themselves.
Okay.
And Singapore has a lot of opportunity to take the lead in this space and be a real thought leader because we already have done so well. And so coming back to your question, I think it's not about the number, 10 million. It's about the ethos, the long-term planning, the fact that we don't know what's going to happen in the next 100 years from an urban perspective, from an environmental perspective.
One last hard-hitting question for you guys.
Okay.
Aljunied GRC team has been, I mean, from the PAP side at least, has been compared to the Suicide Squad, right? I won't ask you because you've been asked this question already.
Yes.
But if you had to describe your fellow teammates, including you guys, as comic book characters, just like the Suicide Squad, but not only limited to the Suicide Squad,
Sure.
who would you compare your teammates to?
Look, Hui is obviously Wonder Woman.
Okay. Why?
She can do it all, man.
Yeah, she can juggle a lot of things.
Honestly, she can do it all.
I think Adrian will be Superman.
Wow.
Really?
Okay.
She has 5 kids.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
know, and he's got his newborn is very young as well, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how he handles his work,
Yeah.
his, community
doesn't sleep,
work. He doesn't sleep.
He sleeps like 3-4 hours a night. I don't know how.
Oh my gosh.
And then in
okay.
the mornings, he has to send all his 5 children,
Yeah.
I
1
don't know how
hour
he
of
does
sleep
it.
per child.
Yeah,
That's what he
so
did.
definitely I would say he's Superman, right? Yeah.
Who
else?
I think Jega is Captain Planet.
Okay, why is that?
Yeah. No, look, this guy, in the purest heart I've ever met.
Yes.
But also like very a very sophisticated brain with a very pure heart, also a very underrated guy, I have to say. And he spent a lot of time really understanding the ground, but at the same time he's super passionate about, okay, I know he's a unionist, so workers is very cliche, but very passionate about caregivers.
Okay.
And the mental toll that being a caregiver puts on people. And actually, it's something that does come up a lot. I don't know about you, in my house visits. So I'm super glad to have him on the team as someone who has been very useful as we've been filing all our papers, but also to give us the perspective on caregivers.
Okay, so we got Captain Planet, we got Wonder Woman, we got Superman.
Yeah.
Now, you
Wow.
guys?
Maybe Daniel Deadpool, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Because they were quite, it's quite funny. I find Daniel quite funny as well.
Yeah.
And it's
I
very
think I'm
active,
very ugly,
No, nothing to do with
Fine,
looks.
I'll
Nothing to do with looks.
I'll be an ugly Ryan Gosling. That's okay for me.
Are all the superheroes good looking? Okay, maybe Wonder Woman.
Ryan
Okay
Reynolds.
Wonder Woman and that one.
Ryan Reynolds, not Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll be an ugly Ryan Reynolds. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, so I think that's him lah. It's quite funny, but at the same time he's very determined.
Okay.
To save the world as well. So that's what I'll describe him as. I don't
You
know how to
dance a
describe
lot
him.
as well.
Dance?
Yeah, I mean, have you seen the latest Deadpool?
He's,
Oh,
no, I've
okay,
not seen the latest
okay.
Deadpool. But
I don't dance that much.
Yeah. How are the abs?
It'll come along slowly. I'm sure it'll come along soon.
If you have to ask, you know the answer already.
They're united
Okay.
as one. How about
Yeah,
that?
Deadpool, Faisal. Who is Faisal?
Flash?
Flash.
Yeah, he's
Why?
he's everywhere at the same time.
Okay.
He's everywhere at the same time. So,
Okay.
I mean, even up to early this week, you're still seeing patients, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I have to clear my cases
So
before we start.
we had meetings in the morning. Then he goes to see his patients. Then
Yeah.
he goes walks the ground. Then he goes to the coffee shop. Then he comes back for another meeting. Then
I did another interview at 11 p.m. on the night of nomination day.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
So-
it was bad.
We did an interview. Oh, no, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys after.
After.
I'll tell you
Sure,
guys
sure,
after
sure,
we
sure.
start recording. Okay, thank you guys so much for those. I mean, now we'll move on to the section about advice. So we have some questions from the audience.
Okay.
One in particular that we'll do. But before we get to that, if you are watching this right now, if you have some sort of life decision that you have to make, some sort of dilemma that you're faced with, big or small, trivial or life-changing, you can write to us at the link that's on your screen right now. You can find that exact same link in our show description.
I've always wanted to do this.
Is
Yeah,
it
like
here?
this.
It's here.
Okay,
I don't know.
well, okay, let's flash up the link one more time for
Okay.
Daniel to do it properly. Yeah, very good. Okay, here you guys go.
All right.
I'll just read the question out. This question is from someone who's just using the pseudonym Anonymous. Anonymous writes, I am passionate about my job and enjoy what I do, but I have imposter syndrome. What advice would you give? Just now you guys mentioned imposter syndrome, I believe. Yeah. What advice would you give to Anonymous?
I would say to Anonymous that you don't need to listen to us. Because we also have imposter syndrome. I feel it in many aspects of my life, especially when you're taking on a new role, having a new challenge. So I think it's natural to feel anxiety, and it's not something that you should run away from. But it can be something that becomes healthy for you.
Okay, in what way?
Yeah, I mean, for me, having imposter syndrome has, I guess, spurred me on to know a bit more about the work, to understand a bit more the impact of what I'm doing, to make sure that whatever, to make sure that my presence is a bit more impactful than if I am not. Because I think it's easy to say, you don't have to worry, you wouldn't be there unless people believed in you. But let's not forget that you still have these guttural feelings, and they're fair to have now. But it can be turned into a superpower for yourself. Just check yourself every night. Make sure you tell yourself you're okay. But when you do feel this, just use it as a spur to kind of dig a bit deeper, learn your work a bit more, and can become a better version of yourself now.
Yeah.
Faisal, imposter syndrome?
Yeah, so imposter syndrome, I think, Mr. or Miss Anonymous, is something all of us feel at some point, especially, and I agree, especially when we take on a new role.
Yeah.
Right? So this is very normal. And imposter syndrome may not necessarily be a bad thing all the time, as Daniel alluded to as well, right? You can use it, you should use it to be a better version of yourself, to learn about your job a bit more. One of my favorite mantras, which I live by, and I hope, and this is my main advice, is get comfortable being uncomfortable. Right? And the reason being is that growth is a very uncomfortable process. If you find yourself, you're very comfortable at where you are, you're not growing, you're stagnating.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to grow, you want to be a better version of yourself, you have to put yourself out there. The school of hard knocks, right, will do you a lot of good.
Yeah.
But more importantly, be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
All right? Don't let it be debilitating. Take it at your own pace where you're comfortable with. Right? And the more situations where you put yourself in a place of discomfort where you grow, you'll find that you'll be more resilient and you'll be able to take more. So if you're not used to this, don't suddenly go and do something completely out of the wild and new, because it can debilitate you. Set achievable goals for yourself. Take it slowly.
Yeah.
Get used to being comfortable. Get used to being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think before you know it, 1 year down the road, 2 years down the road, you realize that you've come so far from who you used to be. So don't shy away from things you are not used to, and don't worry about imposter syndrome. All of us have it. Even the people who you really admire, they had it at one point in their lives as well.
And don't keep it in, all right?
Yeah, don't keep it in.
Talk to your friends, It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be not okay.
Yes.
Okay, I think that is all the time that we have on today's show. Thank you guys so much for your time, for
Thanks,
being so
Drew.
generous.
Thank you, Drew.
I know it must be super busy period for you guys.
Oh, yes.
Thank you to
Thank
the
you,
audience
Drew.
for joining us all this to the end of this episode. Thank you to Audio-Technica for powering the audio on this podcast. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.